Warning: the following story contains descriptions of graphic violence. Viewer discretion is advised. Imagine a quiet neighborhood in Kensington, Philadelphia, back in July 1972. The community was about to be shaken by a heinous crime that would leave them in shock and disbelief. This is the case of Dolores Della Penna, a 17-year-old high school graduate whose life was tragically cut short in a case that remains unsolved to this day. Dolores Marie Della Penna was born in Tacony, Philadelphia on December 13, 1954, the second of two children born to Ralph and Helen Della Penna. Her father was a chemist and her mother a homemaker. The family resided in a semi-detached house in a blue-collar section of Tacony, comprising predominantly of families of Polish or Italian ancestry. By 1971, Della Penna's older brother, Ralph Jr., had married and moved into his own house. An honors graduate of St. Hubert Catholic High School for girls, Della Penna was described by her parents as a kind, obedient, and family-oriented girl who was markedly studious and refrained from conflicts. She held aspirations to attend college in September 1972, with aspirations to ultimately become a radiographer. Della Penna did not own a car, although unbeknownst to her, her parents had planned to purchase her a car for her 18th birthday. Della Penna did not attend her high school prom following her June 1972 graduation, and according to her sister-in-law, Della Penna viewed the summer following her graduation as one which she intended to take full advantage of, as it would be the last summer she could enjoy before she had to work for the rest of her life. Her sister-in-law would also state that by approximately January 1972, Della Penna had become somewhat acquainted with several Kensington teenagers whom she knew to occasionally experiment with drugs. By that spring of 1972, Della Penna would travel to socialize with these individuals approximately 4 times per week. Shortly after her graduation, Della Penna and 3 female friends with whom she had recently become acquainted opted to rent a bungalow in Wildwood Crest, New Jersey, with view to renting the property solely for summer of 1972. The property was located approximately 95 miles from her parents' home, and the money necessary to rent the property was provided by Della Penna's parents as a gift for her having graduated with honors from high school. In late June, Della Penna learned her parents, older brother, and other family members planned to visit Walt Disney World. According to her mother, upon hearing this, Della Penna informed her, "You're not going without me." The entire family commenced their 10-day vacation on July 1st, returning home on July 10th. On the morning of July 11th, 1972, Della Penna assisted her mother with several household chores. That afternoon, she composed several songs upon the family organ before visiting a local store to purchase cigarettes. Shortly after returning home, she spoke with several friends on the telephone before making plans to meet 2 friends named Carol Nichols and Betty Nicastro that evening. At approximately 8 p.m. on July 11th, Della Penna, Nichols, and Nicastro hitchhiked from Tacony to Kensington to visit Nichols' fiancée. Shortly after 11 p.m., Della Penna and Nichols left her fiancé's home, with both girls intending to take separate trolley buses to their homes. According to Nichols, she last saw her friend at the corner of Frankfurt and Torresdale Avenues, where Della Penna expressed mild dismay at having missed her intended connecting trolley bus home, and remarking to Nichols she would have a 20-minute wait for the next bus. Nichols then caught a separate connecting trolley bus to her own home. Della Penna is known to have boarded the next trolley bus to arrive at this bus stop at approximately 11:39 p.m. The driver of this trolley bus, Joseph Kilcoyne, would later inform investigators the girl alighted his trolley bus at the corner of North Street, 3 blocks and approximately 1 mile from her home, sometime between 11:50 and 11:55 p.m. According to an eyewitness to her abduction, Della Penna was attacked by a slender, brown-haired young white male after she had walked approximately 1 block from the trolley bus stop. This witness observed Della Penna being beaten, then swiftly dragged, kicking and screaming, into a maroon 1965 or 1969 model Chevrolet and hastily driven from the scene. The sole evidence recovered at the site of Della Penna's abduction was her maroon jacket, a door key, a small cross, and a crucifix which had been a gift given to her by her friends at her high school graduation. The circumstances regarding Della Penna's disappearance led police to rapidly determine she had been abducted, and numerous investigators were assigned to the investigation into abduction. In addition to the eyewitness testimony pertaining to her being beaten and hastily forced into a Chevrolet containing more than one individual, several local residents also informed investigators they heard a young woman's high-pitched screams emanating from the vicinity of Tulip and Rawl Street, corroborating the actual eyewitness's account of her actual abduction. More than 20,000 circulars describing the abduction vehicle were distributed across Philadelphia in efforts to trace the vehicle and identify Delapena's abductors in the weeks following her abduction, although this initiative failed to bear fruit. Within the first week of the investigative inquiries, over 150 individuals were questioned with regards to Delapena's disappearance. Several are known to have failed polygraph tests, and these individuals were typically involved in the usage or trafficking of narcotics, leading detectives to suspect a conspiracy of silence. Subsequent leads garnered would extend as far afield as New York, although all leads of inquiry ultimately proved fruitless. A substantial reward for her safe return was also offered, to no avail. Delapena's mutilated torso and severed arms were later located in a wooded area close to Oakwood Avenue in Jackson Township, New Jersey, on July 22, 1972. Her legs were found beside a dirt road in adjacent Manchester Township several days later. Both body recovery locations were close to the Route 571 and were separated by a distance of approximately 19 miles. Her body was formally identified on July 24th via X-ray records of her spinal column taken in 1970. An autopsy was unable to determine the cause of death, although the coroner did know Delapena had been extensively beaten prior to death and that the dismemberment to her body had been inflicted in a methodical manner with a sharp instrument as opposed to via a hacking manner, indicating the dismemberment had been inflicted after death. The degree of precision in which the mutilation and disembowelment had been inflicted indicated the individual responsible likely held an advanced degree of anatomical knowledge. Furthermore, her fingertips had also been severed from her hands after death in an evident effort to prevent identification. Despite numerous searches, Delapena's head has never been recovered. Dolores Della Penna was laid to rest on the morning of August 5, 1972. Her interment followed a concelebrated mass held at Galzerano Funeral Home. She was laid to rest within a Resurrection Cemetery. The disappearance of Dolores Della Penna and the subsequent discovery of her dismembered body generated intense press and public interest. Following the discovery of her remains, Philadelphia Police Department, the New Jersey State Police, and the FBI launched an intense coordinated manhunt to apprehend the individual or individuals responsible. Over 1,500 individuals would be questioned in the 2 months following the discovery of her body alone, with inquiries ultimately expanding nationwide and as far afield as Scotland. All lines of inquiry failed to yield results. On what would have been Delapena's 18th birthday, the Philadelphia Daily News increased a previously offered reward of $4,000 to $10,000 for any information leading to the arrest and conviction for her murderer or murderers, with the periodical assuring the public they could remain anonymous in submitting any information should they wish. This appeal and reward offer generated several public tips, although none resulted in the apprehension of her murderers. Despite intense investigative efforts, Delapena's murder gradually became a cold case, although the case remained open, receiving periodic reviews in the following decades. Decades have passed, and Dolores' family still seeks justice for their beloved daughter. Her memory lives on as a reminder of the tragic and unresolved nature of her case. As we delve into the details of this unsolved murder, we are left with questions, hoping that one day the truth will come to the light. For more content, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you.